my sister's friend picked me up, so I didn't have to walk here, which was nice. Right, she would have picked me up at the hotel, but again, I don't like sort of do that to people and take advantage of them. My sister was saying I could have just came here Tuesday night had she known what was going on. She didn't get the text. So, like I said, the people who keep doing this stuff to my telephone, I'm waiting for you to drop dead. Okay. I already did my online check-in. I don't have to have the app for that. So my sister's going to take the trip with me. I have to call Royal Caribbean tomorrow and see if we can change it to her, if there's going to be an issue because it's after final payment. I checked myself in. I obviously did not check Brian Buchanan into my cruise. Okay, so, um, well, they'll either say I can't do it, and then I'll go, well, just so you know, he won't be there. So hopefully there's not a problem for boarding by myself because it's just not going to happen. Like the person is dangerous to me, and we're estranged, we're separated, and then as soon as I can probably get a person to drive me to Canton. I probably don't even have to take the train this time, and it's an annulment, and that will be the end of it finally. In terms of that, but anyways, um, yeah, I could use a whole bunch of compliments. That's probably going to happen on the cruise, as I explained. Um, right, so um, I clean up pretty well from what I just went through. I guess if I have time, I have a month to see if I can get someone to clean my teeth. It's really not like noticeably horrible. It's just I typically have pretty nice teeth. You can put two and two together. The condition I met this person, all of the stuff he says to me. So never again will I associate with street people in that condition now that I realize what they actually are. You have to be careful about that in bars, because anytime you're sort of assuming that people like that can't get cleaned up for a day, it's just like I explained to Brian. He could have went right into Harvard into a bar because he got cleaned up by me, meet someone, and he's told me this has actually happened. They because they're dumb and drunk, they take him back to their place and they can't get rid of him. Okay, because he becomes violent and vindictive and really doesn't care. He doesn't care about going to jail for the night, getting sectioned for 3 days, going to detoxes. He really doesn't care. So, anyways, I was talking to myself at Foxborough train station because I don't have internet data on my phone, of course. Maybe by Sunday I will for 3 days. Um, oh, that's right. I can plug my regular plug in because the lights are on. Um, my sister did not get the text. When I walked in, well, first of all, her friend said, "Where's Brian?" And I said, "Oh, Candy didn't tell you." And then when I got here and I walked in, she goes, "Where's Brian?" And I go, "You didn't get my text?" And then I sat them down and explained to them exactly what happened last Thanksgiving. And that's just like a snippet. He's done this like 10 times since I've met him. But in terms of really getting away from someone and staying away from them, I think that's the main when I tell people that because she was not aware of what happened last Thanksgiving and that the drug addicts he was at a tent with as a female and that she called people saying and that she had a boyfriend at the time and she's already covering her tracks. She calls someone who's sitting next to me at the library, a mutual friend, to tell him that Brian's all acting crazy and won't stop trying to have sex with her. Really? Come on. They were living together in her house with her husband that divorced her, by the way, and has a new wife. And she lost her house and everything because of it. You just go, really? The person is a psycho that I met in the shelter in 2019. Okay. So there was no Brian Buchanan. She knows who I am and everything. And then clearly, as soon as she found out that he told her he was going out with me, or she saw us together, or she saw it online, she began hanging out with him and taking her to his house and having parties, probably sex parties and stuff. And I'm sure that contributed to the husband leaving her and her losing her house. And Brian was happy she lost her house, by the way. And he told me he started hanging out with her after he took off from Faulkner Hospital. You were already hanging out with her? And that he can't stand it because she always has to have somebody and blah, 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 blah. Right. I'm positive they've had sex. Absolutely positive they have. Okay, so at the time, she had a boyfriend. She was trying to cover her tracks and made that phone call. And then Brian would have never told me had I not said something to him about it. And his story was that she said to him, I was thinking about having sex with you. So clearly they had sex. Right. It's just gross. Absolutely gross. And that a year has gone by and he still won't admit he had sex with her. And you go, so you had a conversation with a female in a tent on Thanksgiving when you're married? What the fuck, dude? Right. You're nothing. It's not even a boyfriend that's cheats and stuff. He's sadistically insane. Right, he's sadistically insane. When I took him to Gavin in December after, remember, he got a restraining order against me, goodbye bitch and stuff, so I couldn't go to the library for a week, and that's where I ate. Okay. Oh, yeah. I just wanted my phone back, bitch. Like, it's just whatever that is, transference from his abusers, his upbringing, something, and you just go, just stay away from Mary. Just stay away from her. Just stay permanently away from her. Fixate on somebody else. So, anyways, right, a year later, you're still not going to admit that you had sex with her, and you still don't even say anything about what was that? What was that? I know you just, I'm in a detox, so everything's okay. I got hit in the head with the hammer and got pneumonia and C. diff, so it's okay, and I never have to explain myself. And he doesn't forget things. He probably exactly remembers what happened with the dude that hit him. He's lying because I already caught him in lies of stuff he told me he didn't remember. And when we were here like a week or two ago, I started talking about it, and he said he did remember that. He goes, "Oh yeah, I do remember that." So you lie, and you do remember things, and you all you do is lie, lie, lie. Just like when he said his friends were freaking out about he was hanging around with some homosexual guy. Remember when I took him to the campground and I said, did you have fun hanging out with him? And he said, yeah. And I go, is it possible that you're gay? And he got mad. And he goes, that's offensive. That's offensive? How is that offensive? Look at this. Why did you marry me? Why are you hanging out with me? You refused to have sex after raping me once. You refuse to have sex. All you do is degrade me. Okay. And then you're hanging out with the homosexual and you're masturbating to pornography in a public bathroom. You told me that. So if you had fun and enjoyed hanging out with that guy, why are you bothering me? Why are you bothering me? I don't really consider dudes like that gay, by the way. I really don't. You just go, I've met homosexual men, they like me and they compliment me and stuff. They don't know. Especially attractive women that are nice and gay friendly and fun to hang around with. You just go, no, that's not gay. I told you that's not even gay. It's just what causes that. It's got to have something to do with grooming in a person who has a low intelligence level and has screwed up his brain and never got into the mental health thing. Later on, after being around him for like a year and a half, then he started telling me because he had to keep telling me that that was a real relationship. It's just a way to abuse me. Right. That's why he would, in 2023, he didn't talk to me about her like that. Okay. After the marriage, that's when he started pulling that crap. Just like taking off on holidays and stuff. It's like the most bizarre weirdness. I don't know if parents go through this with children that have mental illness and drug problems. Okay, just this takes rebellion and coloring your hair on purpose and um, who's coming to dinner on purpose and stuff and pretending you're bisexual to get your parents' attention in a negative way. I'm not your parent. Go away. Anyways, just that day, when I walked to Quincy from High Park, and he just came walking up and goes, "Yeah, so Greg Ryan and I were talking about all these girls we could bleep." He could bleep, not both of them. He could bleep. What? Yeah, just my face dropped and I went, I can't do this. Yeah, I can't do this. Like, I don't understand why you just said that to me. So if you ever meet someone and they make an insult like that at you, just don't engage in a relationship with them. It doesn't matter how good and hurt and damaged or whatever you think they are and they're secretly a good person. You're just projecting yourself onto them at that point. Right? Just it is what it is. It's not any secret thing. Many people have had drug and alcohol problems. They've been abused. They have dysfunctional families. They've made mistakes in their lives. Love means never having to say you're sorry. And believe me, that dude never says he's sorry about anything. He's never wrong about anything. He's never sorry. So you just go, yeah, he hasn't changed. Remember when I thought he changed after the brain surgery? He hasn't. No, it's sort of like possible that briefly he got a little bit frightened because he thought he almost died. I really don't think it was to that level. Okay. I think he exaggerates things like most attention seekers do. Um, it may have scared him briefly, and that only lasted 3, 4 months because now it was almost 5 months to the day. It was June 20th when he took off, wasn't it? I had it written down. It was either the 20th or the 22nd. It was a Sunday, and the library it was 2 minutes before the library was going to open when he did that stuff after brandishing the knife and pushing that woman down at Smith Center and stuff. He just goes into these fits of violence and stuff. When the cops came to Pearl Hill, I told my sister about it. She didn't know about that either. It just so happened that the people we met at the campground texted me today, so I text her a message. I don't know if the phone didn't deliver it because she didn't text anything back. Right? Just it's sort of just like as an FYI, you know, I'm fine because clearly it's cold out. They want to see if I'm all right, and they keep in touch with me. Yeah, I'm at my sister's for a while, like I planned to. And as an FYI, Brian and I are not together anymore. It's been sort of like a very long 2 years of abuse that I don't really burden other people. And that was the end of it. Right. So I don't think they really have that much interest in Brian. They mostly just talk to me. And so, um, oh, so when the cops came to Pearl Hill, the cops, would just when I said something about CBD, I remember the cop went, I think it has THC in it. And he was going, well, I guess it's good when he does his violent stuff that he goes, he usually takes off, but now he's stuck at a campground with me. Right. The weird sort of O.J. Simpson speech after the brain surgery about it's better if I die before him because how is he gonna? I mean, how would I survive if he died? How would I survive if you died? How would I survive without my sleeping bag last November? How would I survive in Orlando on the streets? How would I survive Tuesday night? How would I survive after you depleted my SNAP food card and took off? How would I survive? Okay, so that's obviously concerning talking like that. Um, that's about that. So yeah, you could tell that the cops were just like, okay, well, that's why he stayed sober this long because he was at a campground for 6 weeks, and then it was the first night back from the campground, it rained on us, and then we came to my sister's, and it's been off and on at my sister's, and I knew that's what was hanging on by a thread of him staying sober. I knew that was why. Right, all he had to do was make it 2 more nights, and he knew that, so he did this on purpose. Because it's either you do it now and ditch me, or you've got to somehow ditch me before Thanksgiving from his apartment. Because you're not going to spend a holiday with me. It's a form of abuse, being sadistically insane. because you know you're sadistically insane, right? When you're in Gavin Foundation after Thanksgiving and you say to me on a phone, and then I spent Thanksgiving with Colleen, you know you're sadistically insane at that point. That's the only explanation a patient needs. You're sadistically insane, okay? Like, you won't stop trying to abuse me, and that's not sane. When he said that thing at Gavin Foundation on the phone, his voice even sounded sinister. Yeah. I mean, obviously, that's a being, whatever, has a pulse and talks and stuff, but, like, literally, it's a demon with skin. But, I mean, that's probably why it's called dementia. Yeah, just like someone had to go, "Why are you talking to her like that to my mother?" Just all of a sudden, it will go, "Ew," and they say something, like, just completely cruel and sick. So, yeah, like, usually I think it's envy, some envy flash that they can't control. Right, and it's, like, beyond the CUNT underhanded comments when people do that, or the bragging and comparisons, like his quote unquote ex-in-laws. You don't have ex-in-laws, you weren't married, and those people are pedophiles. You don't have to say something about ex-in-laws because I was talking about my ex-in-laws. You don't have any ex-in-laws, okay? You have in-laws you've never met because you're so mentally insane. You're so mentally insane, you've never even met my mother, and I've known you since March of 2023 because of repeatedly taking off. I don't even think Cindy would have been against a day visit where you just come and go and you met my mother. So that should seem odd. Yeah, sometimes you're with someone that you shouldn't be with, and you know not to bring that person around your family because this that you never know when the switch is going to be flipped. Right, I didn't. I told her that. I go, I'm just really grateful that this happened 2 days before we were supposed to come here because I know now it would have happened because you're talking Thursday to the next Monday. That's a long time. That's over a week, and he's already getting that bad. The stuff with the legs, by the way, he did that. Was it before the wedding? When he came into the shelter right before the wedding, and he lasted maybe a day. Yeah, because he's gonna smoke pot. Remember that? He doesn't even have an excuse anymore because he's not supposed to be smoking pot, which I'm sure he probably is. I'm sure he's smoking marijuana, drinking, popping Adderall, smoking crack cocaine, smoking meth, whatever it is. I'm sure. Oh, I might have to shut this off now.